Hey guys, welcome to episode 29 of the Route 281 podcast. Today's episode is a solo episode where you get to know the host, me, Tim Ladich. Thanks for being with us for 2025. Episodes 1 through 28 were a lot of fun and we want to have more of it. So thanks for sticking with us. Give us a follow on Spotify, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and leave us a thumbs up. We're going to have a lot of fun in the new year, and I hope that you join me. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Today's episode is sponsored in part by SECHLER Insurance Group, LLC, your independent local insurance agency, proudly serving Somerset County and the surrounding area since 1931. With offices located in Rockwood and Somerset, SECHLER Insurance Group specializes in home, auto, commercial, farm, life, and financial services. So stop by and see Scott and Jason for a personalized review of your insurance today. All right, guys, here we go. Episode 29. After 28 episodes, I realized you may not know the host so well. So today's episode is going to be a solo episode and the last podcast of 2025. This is a little bit weird, I'll be honest. Doing an episode by myself, but we're going to do it anyway. I just realized after that many episodes, you may not know me, and we'll spend a little time getting to know me. Grew up right here in Somerset County. Grew up on a dairy farm, which was an amazing childhood. Was able to be outside a lot, and that definitely shaped who I am today for sure. Love spending time on the farm. Love spending time outdoors, camping, riding dirt bikes, four-wheelers with my friends. Getting into a little bit of trouble. Defining moment for me as a child would definitely have been my parents' divorce. I think that taught me to overcome adversity and not be surprised by anything these days. How did I get into podcasting? Well, I listened to a lot of different podcasts, and I eventually thought it might be fun to do my own. That was the initial thought process. And then thought about it for a while. And after about a year of considering it, I heard an episode on Joe Rogan where he was talking with, I believe, Adam Curry about how every local town should have a podcast. And to my knowledge, we didn't have one here in Somerset County where people could just sit down, talk about issues, or just tell a story that is unique. And just get together and have a conversation. And I found myself wanting to talk to people more and more. In the job that I do as a contractor, I'm in a lot of different homes, and I would get to know my customers, and some of the stories were just too good to keep to myself. So, we started doing this, the Route 281 podcast. Route 281 kind of cuts through the middle of Somerset County, and it touches a lot of different highways and roads that connect each other. And so, I think that the people here in Somerset County are a lot like people across the United States in the fact that we're regular folks. We care about the same things. We care about God and our family and our country, in that order, by the way. So the podcast kind of developed out of that, and early fears or mistakes were probably that I didn't know if anybody would listen. There's a little bit of a fear that it could flop, but I was greatly motivated when I got my first guest, and kind of just started with that in mind. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't all put together, and but we had a guest, we had a camera, we had some microphones, so we started a podcast. The first episode was with Dr. Bill Krauscher, who's a veterinarian, and he and his partner Dan Zawissa run White Oak Vet Clinic in Somerset. He was gracious enough to be my first guest. That was very motivating. And then the amount of guests that say yes to doing an episode, that are willing to take the time to come and share their story, whether it's about their job or about something that they experienced, or just to come over and talk. That was extremely motivating for me. Also, I will say when I ran this by my wife, who is about as reasonable a person and that I know, said this might be a good idea and you should think about it. And we did. We thought about it a long time, prayed about it, and eventually this came to fruition. So here we are, going into 2026. I started doing this in March of 2025, and we are 29 episodes in. One of the other fears that I had was, anytime you put yourself out there like this, you feel a little vulnerable. You don't like the sound of your own voice. It's a little weird. And learning the technology involved in producing an episode was a little daunting. But we're figuring it out. What do I care about as a host? Well, I'll tell you what. One of the reasons I wanted to do this, because I just wanted the people in our community to basically be proud of where they come from. You're not just from Somerset County. You get to be from Somerset County. We have a strong historical background, a lot of heritage here, and great natural resources. It's just a wonderful place to raise a family. Say what you want about the job market. It could be better. But all in all, I love raising my kids here. Some great schools. It's a great place to raise a family. What makes a great conversation? Well, I'm still learning that, to be honest with you, but being able to listen, to actively listen, to follow up and ask good questions. I think being able to be honest and authentic, and being able to laugh. Something I want to do more of on this podcast for sure. Some of the stories that I really like highlighting are like veterans. I've enjoyed my conversations with our local veterans and law enforcement. It's a unique personal interest of mine. So I've really enjoyed those episodes, getting to hear about their experience, whether it's been combat or something that they do on an everyday basis. And basically unique people with unique stories. We all have a story to tell, and I've had fun learning and getting to know so many neat people through this podcast that sometimes I've seen and didn't really know something about them. For example, Dustin Livingood, episode 26 and 27. I would see Dustin at SDC Building Center, and I knew he was a painter. I did not know he was a world champion Spartan racer, which, if you know anything about Spartan racing, it is extremely challenging and grueling, and what he's accomplished is extraordinary. I didn't know that about Dustin until we sat down and we spoke on the podcast. I hope that listeners gain a sense of pride in where they come from, and it's okay to just be regular. I'm a regular guy. I care about regular things. This podcast is for regular people who just have something that they want to share, a story that they want to share, why Somerset County or the job that they do is special to them. So I hope that you gain some insight in getting to know somebody that maybe you didn't know before, or you've seen around town and now you've learned something new about them. Some personal things on the personal side for me. I've been married for 20 years to my wonderful wife, Lindsay. She's an amazing wife and mother to my 3 daughters. And she's also a travel agent. So if you need to book a trip, give Lindsay a call or check out her website at quietwaterstravel at intellitravel.com. I'll put the link in the description for her. She does an amazing job at planning family trips, budget friendly, getting the most out of your vacation for your dollar spent. She's great at it. Hobbies and passions of mine. I'm just very passionate about my family. We do pretty much everything together. We love our church family over there at Wesley Chapel in Skalton. Shout out to them, Pastor Tim Monteith, who is a force to be reckoned with behind the pulpit. He's just a great guy. Blessed to have him as a friend, and as well as many, many people over there. Traveling. I love to travel. We travel as a family when we can. We've been blessed to take some cruises, which we've grown to really love. And I could talk all day about cruising. Love doing it. Something about just putting your wallet, keys, phone away for a whole week. Unpack your suitcase one time. Wake up in a new on a new island, sometimes a new country every day. I love the ocean. That's just that's been really fun to see, to experience that. Since for the past couple of years we've been trying that, and it's been great. My career background. Okay, I graduated from college with a degree in golf course management and worked at the most notable golf course, Oakmont Country Club in Pittsburgh, where I was there for the 2007 U.S. Open, won by Angel Cabrera. That was a great time. Met a lot of cool people, some famous golfers. Was a great experience. A very demanding occupation, and the fact that you work a lot, and the golf course doesn't sleep, so it is like a 24/7, 365 day career, and it is exciting for a young person to do that. You could basically go anywhere. There's golf courses everywhere. We found ourselves coming back to Somerset County when we had our first daughter so that my wife could be a stay-at-home mom. Then spent some time on the dairy farm again. Took on dairy farming. Enjoyed that. There's amazing things to learn and be a part of on a dairy farm. Everything from being in a tractor, being outside, to delivering a calf at midnight in January is I wouldn't say fun, but it's a surreal moment, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything either. Eventually went on to be in the Carpenters Union for 5 years out of Pittsburgh. Did a lot of bridge work, built roadways, stuff like that, which led me to creating my own business where I do custom remodeling right here in Somerset. Lattice Construction is the name of my business. One thing I've learned as a contractor is that I'm only as good as the materials I use or the people I work with. That's why I go to SDC Building Center in Somerset. They've got everything I need for my jobs, from framing lumber, trim, drywall, insulation, siding. No matter what I'm doing, they've got it. And if I've got a problem, they'll always help me find the best solution and track down the answers I'm looking for. So whether you're a contractor like me or a do-it-yourselfer, stop in and see the experts at SDC Building Center today. Some guilty pleasures or quirks of mine. A guilty pleasure, I don't know, just taking a little bit of time for myself maybe is a guilty pleasure because I don't get too much of it. I love pizza, if that's a guilty pleasure. And something quirky about me, I speak pretty good Spanish. Not fluent by any means, but all those years on the golf course, whether it was in Texas or DC or Virginia, I picked up a lot of Spanish, and I like to speak a little Spanish once in a while. Daily habit that defines me. I love Jesus, and I'm proud of that. I'm not the best Christian. I don't know even how to define that, but I do try to read my Bible daily, and that grounds me. It keeps me in communication with the Lord, and prayer also. Oh, the mission of the podcast going forward. My vision is to just keep having guests on, try to do some big personalities and unique stories, and just connecting our community with the people that live here. We want to have just continue doing episodes. I just think that we'll just kind of keep doing what we're doing. We'll see where it leads us. I don't always have it all figured out, and I think that's okay. Sometimes we either pretend or try to think that we have everything figured out. It's okay that we don't. You just got to try, put yourself out there, not be afraid to fail. So behind the scenes, a little prep and recording. Calling guests is fun for me, creating ideas for the next show, talking to people and see who might be a good fit for the podcast. That's fun. I enjoy that part of it. We had to make sure all the technology side of thing works, and that's a real process that maybe I wasn't completely prepared for, and I learn every episode on something new that I can do with this technology. The gear that I use, I just keep it simple. Like I said, there's so many things to learn. There's new stuff coming out all the time. What people don't realize about producing an episode is that it is very time consuming. This takes a lot of time. My favorite part is definitely just having the conversation with the guest and creating ideas for the episode. My least favorite part is probably producing it, putting it all together, and doing the upload. So, I'll ask you guys, who would you like to see on the show next? You can leave a comment and let me know who you think might be a good fit. Who would you like to hear from? Or maybe a favorite guest that I've had on. You guys can interact with me directly on Facebook, at Route 281 Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. We're over there. I encourage you to just let me know. Let me know who you'd like to see come on the show. Sorry, I have these notes because to do this without them, I would have had to retake this probably 20 times without the notes. And I'll retake it probably several, even with the notes. So thank you for bearing with me. Like I said, a little awkward, but nothing ventured, nothing gained is definitely something that I like to live by. Taking a risk, even doing this podcast, like just risking the time that I take, is it worth it? I hope so. I certainly enjoy it, and I'm learning a lot from the guests I have on the show. Hope you guys are too. Lesson that I live by, I go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but acknowledge him in all your ways, and he shall make your path straight. Solomon said it best in Proverbs. It's a lesson that I certainly strive to live by. A recent meaningful moment. I recently did a podcast with Nathan Hostetter, who is a United States Marine Corps Master Gunnery Sergeant, retired. Nathan was brave enough to come on and share some of his experience during his tours overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan. And I realized parts of that episode were difficult for him. And as a host, I don't think I was quite prepared for that. But I realized, these guys have an experience that it's hard for us to comprehend. And there was a moment where it was difficult for him to share an experience. And it just made me realize really how grateful I am for our veterans and servicemen and women who sacrifice so much, not only their lives, but their families' time with their kids, time with their family, to serve our country. And they do it for the right reason. Regardless of why they're there, they are personally there for the right reasons. And so, I am incredibly grateful to all those who serve. That was a meaningful moment on this show, anyway, for me. A quote that guides me, like I said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Don't be afraid of failure. It's how we learn. I've been asking questions since I was a little kid. It's how I've learned. I've always encouraged my kids to ask questions. And Proverbs 1:7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And I can't think of any more fundamental way to look at life. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Once you know your place here on earth, then that's where you start. That's where you start to, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but once I know where I was created, then I could start to learn. That's my worldview. That's how I view the world. I view the world that I was created with a purpose by God, and that we are all unique and all special to Him. I teach my kids that. So that's definitely what guides me. So I hope that you learned a little bit about me today. I've tried to record this honestly several times, and it's never perfect. I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. So I don't record this as a recorded YouTube video where you can talk like it's scripted. It's not scripted. I'm just trying to be authentic. And there's nothing more authentic than me saying this is a little bit weird, and that's okay. So you can follow us on Spotify at Route 281 Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Route 281 Podcast. Leave us a thumbs up. It really helps the show. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with us for 2025. 2026, I'm looking forward to it. We've already got some great guests lined up for the new year. And I'm excited. I don't plan on slowing down. I plan to put out an episode a week. So, like I said, it would help me if you leave a comment. Let me know who you would like to see on the show. And let me know who your favorite guest was also. And I will plan on doing another future solo episode. So if you have a question for me, leave it in the comment section on the episode here. And I appreciate it if you share this episode. So that pretty much sums it up for now. This is my first crack at trying this solo thing. And let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Thanks. Thanks again to SDC Building Center for sponsoring this episode of the Route 281 podcast. Stop in and see them today. Check out the Ace Hardware store. You just might find that perfect gift for that special someone.